Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders win their respective race in the West Virginia primaries. Trump also took Nebraska, where only Republicans were voting today. The presumptive Republican nominee now has 1,138 delegates. In the meantime, 29 Democratic delegates were up for grabs in West Virginia. And right now, we want to turn to One America's Ash Kargaran with more on today's primaries. Ash, what do the wins today mean for the race moving forward?
Well, Mike, pretty much what they mean is that Donald Trump is now that much closer to securing the nomination outright. He was the winner in both Virginia as well as Nebraska. The businessman will likely take all 70 delegates available, bringing him that much closer to the 1237 target needed to win the nomination. He now has 1,138 total delegates, and after tonight's victories, there will be 435 delegates from 7 states left before that convention in July. Trump needs just 99 of those after his victories tonight. And on the other side, Bernie Sanders pulled off the victory in West Virginia. The Vermont senator benefited from a favorable demographic as well as a mixed primary where independents can vote for him. It also didn't hurt that Hillary Clinton said earlier this year that she would put a lot of coal companies out of business. However, there's a very good chance that Sanders will end up with fewer delegates than Clinton because of the way the Democrats allocate their delegates, Mike.
Ash, I want to talk about the GOP frontrunner and Ted Cruz. For the last almost 24 hours, we've been hearing if Ted Cruz sees his campaign sees the right situation, that he may come back in the race. What does that mean?
So basically what Ted Cruz is implying was that if by some miracle he was able to win Nebraska, because let's put this out there, Nebraska had no polling before tonight, so it's really unclear who was going to be the victor. But Ted Cruz felt that if he was able to somehow pull off the Nebraska victory, he could see a path towards stopping Donald Trump from reaching that 1237 number. And what he said earlier today during an interview in D.C. was that if he found a path towards victory, he would get back into the race. He was very, vague about it. He didn't really give any specifics, but his campaign said that if he were to somehow win Nebraska, he would come back into the campaign or into the election cycle and try to prevent Trump and take it to a contested convention. But obviously,
so he's not coming back.
He is not coming back now.
All right, shifting our focus to the general election and the Democrats. How does Sanders remaining in the race right now affect Clinton's odds against Trump come the general election?
Well, I mean, Donald Trump right now is facing nobody. He is the only candidate left. He has a clear path to the nomination. No one is in his way. So he's able to shift all his focus and all his energy, all his resources, all his funding, everything on the general election and on Hillary Clinton. That's why you hear him going at Hillary now, calling her crooked Hillary, even going at Elizabeth Warren. He's focused all his energy on the general election. He's given up on the not given up, but he's stopped going at Republicans in the primary because there's no one left. For Hillary, though, she still has Bernie Sanders to defeat in her primary election, so she's not able to do that as much as Trump is. We know a lot of pro-Hillary super PACs are putting out ads against Donald Trump, using quotes from, other Republicans against him. But that's about as far as it can go. She can't really spend all her energy and all her resources like he does in the general against him in the general. She's focused on Bernie Sanders, and it's basically one candidate sprinting to the finish line in Donald Trump, and the other candidate, Hillary Clinton, kind of stumbling her way there, especially after losing in Indiana, losing tonight in West Virginia. Bernie's, expected to win a couple other states, South Dakota, a couple of those states in the Midwest, and California is really going to be the big prize. If she doesn't win California, that's a huge message going to the general election for someone like Donald Trump, who has a very strong California support group. So she really needs to do well in California, and really needs to head into the general election with a lot of steam so that she can, face Donald Trump in a strong position rather than coming into the general election with multiple losses to Bernie Sanders in her own primary election.
I want to touch on that super PAC and the negative ads that the Clinton campaign is now going to be focusing on about Trump. What other nominees had said previously. I hear there's going to be a recording from the Howard Stern show interview that he did previously. Trump has done no wrong. Everything he said that most people would be held accountable, it's not sticking. Why would this campaign, why would the Clinton campaign right now invest so much in these negative ads? Why don't they take a different avenue? Any idea?
I would say it's because that's a traditional route. That's what you saw a lot of the Republicans do. That's what's worked in previous elections. But this is a far different candidate. It's a far different beast than anything else we've previously seen. That's why his supporters don't care about these little things. They don't care about his previous statements on women. They don't care about, some of his remarks on, off the cuff remarks that he's made. All they care about is he wants to stop illegal immigration. He wants to stop these bad trade deals. He wants to prevent, Islamic
companies from leaving. He wants to create more jobs.
Yeah. He has these core beliefs and core policies that he wants to implement, and that is all they care about. They don't care about this PC stuff. They don't care about the name calling. That stuff, they just let it brush off their shoulder. All they want is a candidate who will do what they want them to do. That's why they're sick of Paul Ryan. They're sick of Mitt Romney. They're sick of these guys who say they will do it, get into office, and then not do it. They think that Trump will stick to his word and stick to his policies.
We had a person on the show, I believe it was last week, who was on The Apprentice, who spent some time in the inner circle with Donald Trump. I think it was in the first season of The Apprentice. And he said something during that interview, and we've been talking about it here, that especially during this campaign, that in this campaign, it's not okay to be a flawed politician, but it seems to be okay to be a flawed human being.
Yeah, so you can say Donald Trump is playing with house money because he doesn't have a previous political record that you can attack. He's coming in saying, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman, everything I say, I'll do. And you can't really go against that because all he has is his previous business deals and his previous earnings and stuff like that. He doesn't have a political past that people can point to and say, well, compared to Hillary Clinton, who has, over 25 plus years of political history that people can point out. That's why you hear him talking about her time as former First Lady or her time as Secretary of State. She has a extensive political background that they can attack versus Donald Trump, who's strictly in the business world where, he can have a past where he said things on the Howard Stern show or he said things on The Apprentice, and people will say, well, that's him outside of the political realm. Now that he's a politician, now that he's running for president, he's going to, act more presidential or be held to a different standard. But for his previous comments, they don't really care what he said in the past.